Raider Nation, what's going on? You're watching the Raiders Report. And coming up here, we're going to talk about this Tom Brady, Dana White, Rob Gronkowski saga that has been circulating all over the world. And today's show is presented by True Classic Tees. If you like the t-shirt I'm wearing right now, because it fits me great, it's super comfortable, and it's wrinkle-free, you guys can get your hands on one of these bad boys. How? Use promo code chat at trueclassictees.com/chat to get 25% off your order. I'm going to say that one more time because I fumbled it a little bit like Tom Brady did. trueclassictees.com/chat. Promo code is chat. 25% off. All right, so what we're going to be talking about here is the story that Dana White, I'll say, kind of leaked here, which was basically around that apparently he helped broker a deal for Brady and Rob Gronkowski to come play for the Las Vegas Raiders in 2020. But John Gruden said no to this. So what I'll do here is I'll walk you through the entire story. I'll give you my 2 cents on it as well because it's literally everywhere. And the amount of people that have asked me to talk about it, I was like, fine, I'll give the nation what they want. But before I do, I want you to subscribe to the show. I want you to subscribe to the Raiders Report. I want you to know that we're going to get you guys videos every single day. Also, I want you to do it for this guy right here because I think Derek Carr said it best on Tuesday. If he's not used to the Tom Brady rumors by now, then he's going to drive himself insane. Shout out to DC. So let's talk about Dana White. This is what he had to say earlier in the week. I worked to put the deal together for Brady and Gronk to come to the Raiders. It was almost a done deal. And at the last minute, Gruden blew the deal up and said that he didn't want him, and a hell broke loose. Man, it was crazy. And Brady was already looking at houses. It wasn't said yet that Gronk was going to be coming, so Las Vegas would have had Brady and Gronk the year the Bucs won the Super Bowl, except Gruden blew the deal up. What's funny about this story is I literally remember covering this on this show, on the Raiders Report, and I remember doing an entire video about Tom Brady looking at houses in Las Vegas. I remember doing a story on when Brady met up with Mark Davis at a UFC event, and the entire world was like, holy cow, does anybody else see this? In fact, the most popular video that I've ever put out on this channel was this one right here. Brady moves to Las Vegas. This video got 90,000 views in less than an hour. That's how many people were looking up this story. Now, personally, when it all came out, I didn't know how to sort through it. There was a lot of rumors, and I always say, if there's a lot of smoke, there's fire. But it does actually sound that there was a lot of legitimacy to Tom Brady and Rob Gronkowski potentially coming to play for the Raiders. So what's the Raiders Report about? It's always about the interaction of the nation. And you know what? I'm going to make this the pinned comment on today's show. I want you to let me know when you're getting hit with that YouTube ad break right now. What was your one-word reaction when you heard the story about Dana White and Tom Brady? Let me know in the comments. My one word is past. If you're the type of person that wants people to talk about a story in 2020, I'm going to say it's time to move on. You're probably also the person that still wears your Letterman's jacket. Sorry, man. It's time to move on. And that's my mindset of this. Like, I get Dana White wants to say it. I get people are putting this story out there to get clicks. Believe me, I put out rumors all the time. But for me, I like to talk about football. I like to talk about real content. And the fact that this is a major story that it is, you know, it is what it is, but it is time to move on. Now, we'll go into some other quotes here from Mark Davis. We'll look at some comparisons between Derek Carr, Tom Brady. We'll look at some stuff between Gronk, Foster Moreau, Darren Waller, all of that stuff. But before I get into all of that, remember that today's show is sponsored by True Classic Tees, and you guys can get a staple six-pack for only $14.99. Personally, I think per t-shirt, excuse me. Or you can get the Essential 9-pack. That per t-shirt is only $13.88. Now, how do you get your hands on this awesome deal? All you got to do is go to trueclassictees.com/chat. Make sure you use the promo code. It's going to save you 25% off personally. People are a lot of times like, Mitch, what about Mark Davis's haircut? Mark Davis looked like a 10 in one of these classic t-shirts. That's all I'm saying. So promo code chat at trueclassictees.com/chat. If that link for whatever is too hard to remember, you can always find it down in the description, down in the comment section. But for me personally, the reason why I love these shirts are made for normal guys. Like, I always see these supermodels or these people that are just absolutely jacked and ripped, and then I buy a t-shirt from one of those companies, and I'm like, well, shit, it doesn't fit me all that well. You know why? Because I'm kind of rocking a little bit of a dad bod right now. It's okay. I got a dog. So these t-shirts are meant to fit me well. If women can have push-up bras, why can't I wear a True Classic t-shirt? They fit me great, they look great, and they're going to look great on you too. So it's trueclassictees.com/chat. Make sure you use promo code chat to save 25% off your order. Now let's talk about Mark Davis, because this is what Mark Davis had to say on the whole Dana White and Tom Brady story. That was what, 2 to 3 years ago or something? I don't know, man. Talk to Dana. I remember that Tom Brady went to Tampa Bay. That's basically what I remember. I have no idea. Dana has the stories. I love Dana. He's a great promoter. Why would this make me upset? Now, PFT said that they heard from a source that Mark does actually know what happened, and that he's kind of lying here. A source with knowledge of the situation has offered to refresh the memory of Mark Davis. Per the source, Davis knew exactly what was happening. White brokered the deal with both sides. Brady and the Raiders, Davis, per the source, wanted it to happen, at least as it related to Brady and presumably as to Gronk. But, as White said, Coach John Gruden decided at the last minute to kill the deal. Now, personally, I'll say this. I'm not going to sit here and point the finger and say, shame on you, Mark Davis, for wanting Tom Brady. It's freaking Tom Brady, right? Like, one of my jobs here as the host of the Raiders Report is always be honest with you. And I've always said, if you can upgrade, you upgrade. I'm sorry if this offends you. Tom Brady, the greatest quarterback of all time, the greatest player to ever play in the NFL. Yes, I get he's responsible for the tuck rule. Yes, I get that a lot of Raider fans hate him. But if he's the greatest quarterback of all time, you would be stupid to not try to bring him into Las Vegas. And only John Gruden would decide not to do that, which does not surprise me at all. But if you want to talk about numbers, because I'm a numbers guy, let's look at what Tom Brady and Derek Carr did in 2020, the year that apparently this all went down. Completion percentage, advantage DC. Yards, advantage Tom Brady. Touchdowns, advantage Brady. Interceptions, DC threw less. Quarterback rating was actually very, very close. And Brady, though, did go on to win the Super Bowl that year. In 2021, the numbers, again, really not close whatsoever. Brady essentially dominates in yards, touchdowns, interceptions, and overall quarterback rating. I don't want to sit up here and continue to compare Brady and Derek Carr because it's really not fair. To compare Brady to anyone, it's not fair. He's the GOAT for a reason. You can't dispute the fact that when you look at the numbers, when the fact that he's 45 years old, he's still playing. When you look at the Super Bowl rings, he has all of that stuff. But what people aren't talking about, because you can always sit here and say, oh, well, Brady went to the Bucs and he won a Super Bowl. You know what I can say? If Tom Brady comes to that Raiders team in 2020, they don't win a Super Bowl. They weren't ready to win a Super Bowl. They didn't have the offensive line. They didn't have the defense, because I get Brady has hoisted a lot of Lombardis. That Buccaneers defense was legit. That offensive line was unbelievable. But yet, nobody talks about that. So instead of talking about what could have been, you bring Tom Brady in, they still don't win a Super Bowl. And then what's your situation? Derek's going to be a member of this team a lot longer than what Tom Brady's going to be playing in the NFL. I'll bet on DC having another plenty of years in the NFL, where Brady already retired once this offseason. So, to me, I get the idea that you can have Tom Brady, but for the love of God, and I thought Raider Cody said this really well on Twitter, can we stop talking about football with Dana White, and can we just appreciate that Derek Carr, in a league right now filled with divas? I mean, you want to talk about putting a clause in Kyler Murray's contract that he's got to study and he's got to do all these things. You got to babysit him and handhold him. You don't have to do that with DC. DC has always chosen the Raiders. DC has always been putting the silver and black first. And for anybody that's like, oh, I don't know if that's necessarily true, look at the contract that he signed. The contract that Derek Carr signed proves to me that he's always wanted to be a Raider. He's literally said that he'd rather retire than play anywhere else. There's going to be 26 other quarterbacks this season that make more guaranteed money than Derek Carr. If it doesn't work out this season, you could technically move on from DC, save $110 million. QBs do not make those deals unless they bet on themselves. And you have to look at what the Raiders did this entire offseason. They are moving in the right direction. Does anyone, for the love of God, think if Derek Carr is not the quarterback of this team, that you get Devontae Adams right now? I get it. You could have had Tom Brady and Rob Gronkowski. That's great in 2020. If I'm telling y'all that we're not going to win a Super Bowl with Tom Brady in 2020, Tom Brady I actually don't even think gets that team to the playoffs last season. Why? Because the reason why the Raiders made the playoffs last year, it's not because they were more talented than teams. They were the best team. They loved each other in that locker room. They united together as a group. And that, to me, doesn't happen unless Derek Carr is your starting quarterback. And now we're looking at this year. Right now, the Raiders are going in the right direction. Right now, the Raiders are making the right moves. You go get yourself Devontae Adams. You go get yourself a true number one receiver. Tom Brady, there's rumors out there that he's been thinking about retiring again because he's so unsure about the offensive line. All I know is this. I love DC. I respect Derek Carr. I know a lot of people don't think that I do, but my job here is to always be real with y'all. And a lot of times, people are like, oh, you don't like Derek Carr because you don't have a top 10 quarterback. I don't. That does not mean I don't like him. That does not mean I do not respect him. Derek is literally the picture on my Twitter. He's literally the picture of this show. Why? I respect Derek Carr. So if you guys love DC, if you're sick and tired of hearing about this Dana White story, it happened, it's over with. I want every single Raider fan that comes across this video to not only spam DC4 down in the comments, but share it with the nation. Share it with people out there because I know this. I know I'm done hearing about it. Let's also, though, talk about the other side of this because it's not just Tom Brady. It's also, you got to look at Rob Gronkowski. And some people are going to be like, well, why are you comparing Foster Moreau and Rob Gronkowski? I'll tell you about that in just a second. But when you look at the numbers here from 2020, Foster had an injury. Gronk went on to have a very successful season of 45 grabs, 623 yards, 7 touchdowns. In 2021, Gronk then, 55 grabs compared to Foster's 30. The yards, advantage Gronk. Touchdowns, advantage Gronk. Here's the one thing, though, okay? I understand, again, a lot of things that I said about Brady. Gronk's going to go down in the NFL history as one of the best tight ends of all time. I could make the argument when Gronk was at his peak, he was the most dominant tight end the NFL has ever seen, okay? The issue is the Raiders wanted Foster Moreau to grow, and Waller was better. Like, if Gronk and Waller are on the same field, Waller's your tight end one. Even at that time, Waller's your tight end one. He's a better blocker. Yeah, I'll say it. He's a better pass catcher. Sure, Gronk and Brady might have a better connection, and I might even tip my cap to Gronk being a better red zone option. But Waller was the better tight end. So that also could be a reason why you're like, you know what? I don't know if I want to bring in Gronk because I just gave Darren Waller a brand new extension of 3 years, $27 million on his contract already. So let's face it here, okay? When it's all said and done, if you are surprised that John Gruden and Mike Mayock were bad at making important decisions, it shouldn't surprise you. At the end of the day, would it have made sense for them to bring in Brady and Gronk? Yeah, I think it would have. I mean, if I'm being real with y'all, Tom Brady was an upgrade over Derek Carr. Tom Brady would have probably put us in a better position in 2020 to win games. But that was then, and I don't really care about that now. As far as I'm concerned now, see you, Gruden. See you, Mayock. This new regime is all I want to talk about because that's all I care about now. If I sat here and I thought about everything that could have been 2 years ago, I wouldn't be where I'm at now. You wouldn't be where you're at now. So let's think about the fact that Derek has looked really good this offseason. Let's look at the fact that the Raiders continue to play very well. Let's continue to look at that this team is moving in the right direction with the regime that we have. That's what this conversation should be about. It shouldn't be about what could have been in 2020. No, it should not have been. Now, y'all, I'm going to be partying with Raider Nation this weekend, and hopefully y'all come hang out with me on Saturday. Week 0, Raider Nation 2022 kickoff party. My guy Graphic Raider has been one of the dudes running it. There's going to be a whole bunch of content creators there. There's going to be old Raiders players. If you want more information on the party, I believe it's only $10 to get in. You can scan that QR code that you see on screen. So get out your camera phone, hover over that bad boy, click on the link. It's going to be a good time. And then there's even a bigger party afterward with some names like Rick Ross will be there, Ludacris. I mean, there's a lot of big-name performers, Too Short, Corrupt. I'm talking like people with millions of followers on social media sites. So if you want to come party, that's going to be available. But at the Raiders party, we got Stu, who's been in the live show today on the Raiders Report. Warren Sapp will be there. Plenty of other old Raiders greats as well. So if you haven't already, get your tickets now. I'll be there partying on Saturday. You can also look it up on Google, Week 0 Raider Nation 2022 kickoff party. I hope that I see you there. Now, before we wrap up today's show, remember, y'all, I appreciate everyone who comes across this channel. We got a lot of diehard Raider fans out there, so if you could, please spam RO4L down in the comments. And if you haven't hit that sub button, make sure you do so. Shout out to the nation. And DC, I got your back, man.